Market recap for Monday the 30th of March 2026. Right, today is a Monday with news, right? This whole week actually got news every single day with Red Folder, right? Typically, I wait for Monday to do what Monday does, right? In terms of Monday, I don't really trade Mondays, even though it has news. I genuinely like to wait to see what are we gonna do so I can base my analysis for Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, and Friday, right? And I'm fine with skipping Mondays unless there's something so clear, right? For today's price action, well, there was something clear. However, I still decided not to trade Monday because I'm just trying to follow my rules, right? If I had a evaluation account that I'm trying to pass, maybe I would have traded it. But other than that, I don't really care. But the day can go by. It is what it is. But let me explain my thoughts and I would have traded it if I was gonna trade it, right? So let's get rid of all of this and let's explain this starting from the daily time frame, right? I'm bearish, and like I said in Friday's video, that cool, we took all this sell side. I don't really expect any retracement or anything until we hit this, right? This gap. Let's do it from the volume imbalance all the way to here. That's what I'm looking at. So when Monday's low right here comes all the way down and doesn't hit it and then starts retracing all the way higher, in my head, this is just an invalid run. It doesn't make any sense at all, right? So I'm not looking at this as a low that's like, okay, we're gonna hold, we're gonna retrace or whatever, right? I'm looking at it like this, whatever this is manipulation, right? So if this is manipulation, what am I looking for? Well, there could be two scenarios, right? Because this week could be bullish or bearish or in between, right? So we need to understand what's Monday gonna do. And the easiest way is what happens once we go to discount of our range. So let's just put that as a discount. Right? So once we go to discount, what do we have? Well, in the 4 hour above the discount, we have this SIBI, right? And we also have the wick. And if we're looking in at the 1 hour or whatever, there isn't really much is going back to this, right? So if if this is an invalid run and we're gonna go overrun it, then this area should like show something that we're not interested to go higher. Basically, that's the whole analysis, right? The only thing that breaks it is a typical Monday where we don't care about liquidity and it's just what I call a repricing Monday. Where 9:30 would open up and would shoot all the way to them highs, right? Entering into this SIBI. What does that mean? That means on Tuesday we're gonna accumulate, on Wednesday we're gonna manipulate. We might go higher, but not really visit this gap because this is a breakaway. And then distribute on Thursday, basically taking this low, and then Friday will retrace once we hit that daily gap, right? Daily gap right here. So that would be the week I would already know it for Monday. Scenario two is Monday says nah, and then it retraces on itself, and technically we might have then another two scenarios where then we'll have this manipulation larger, right? Because why would it do that? Well, once we have this breakaway and this candle printing, you would not want it to see or go above here. Why? To create a daily SIBI. If we're in the creation of a daily SIBI and we already took previous daily low, I wouldn't expect this to come down to previous daily high, which means we're going to stay within this range. If we're going to stay with our range, which is taking previous daily low, right here, well then that means we staying in this discount area, and that means find any liquidities in that area that could be coming back to discount this range and then trying to go higher, or coming down all the way to the low and then actually have a valid run higher, right? So that's cool. Now you need to come back down to the lower time frame, right? Cool. We have the game plan. We expect price to have the chance to visit those, but that means we're still gonna be bearish, or it could just stall up, right? Or if we don't have the willingness to actually respect our discount area, then we're looking to go to our discount area again from this run, and that's here, right? What lines up with that discount? We have sell side liquidity from London, right? That's just as in first objective, right? You don't want to portray that Monday will go all the way to these lows, because it can or can't, right? Like you want to go with the highest probability, right? So now we know that we're mostly bearish. We have to wait for what 930 does, right? Well, how are we gonna do that? Well, there's two ways. One, we respect this, right? We respect this wick. We made this random wick at 726. I'm guessing, I don't know what it is exactly, but we go to discount over range, right? We have the midpoint at this wick right here, and I don't want to really see anybody's closing above it, but you know, a reaction or whatever, right? I need to see that we're holding this, or we make an SMT, right? With ESYM, whatever, right? And on top of that, if we're gonna go bearish, if we're just looking at market structure in the 15-minute, right? Cool, fair value gap hold, fair value gap hold, go all the way down, fair value gap hold, come all the way down here, fair value gap hold, right? I'm looking at all of this, cool. What what would make us be bearish? Well, I would have to use a high time frame like the 15-minute, right? I have the CISD, and if we go below this inversion for, I mean this gap, and inverse it, then that sets the stage for the start of the dump to at least midpoint, right? If you're looking at midpoint and there isn't really anything there, right? I'm looking in terms of the 15-minute, right? Remember, midpoint is right here. You don't see anything that could stop price from dumping all the way until here. But if we dump all the way here, we might as well take the low. You see what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make sense for us to not come all the way down here and not take the low, as in either NQ takes it, OAS takes it, or both of them take it, right? We could have an SMT, and that's fine, and that's where you'd exit, right? So all the signs are leading to this is a bearish day, especially our reaction here at midpoint. As you can see, there's no even bodies closing above midpoint of our range or discount our equilibrium with range. Cool. Well, now we need to see at 9:30, is that all gonna break, right? Because sometimes, well, but it's more of a no news Monday type of thing, where it's repricing. The 9:30 would just be would launch us up. If the 9:30 doesn't launch us up crazy, break this whole structure, that means this whole bearish stance I'm talking about is valid. So let's just wait for 9:30. Boom, right there. That is 9:30. As you can see, the both scenarios are valid right now, right? We come, we actually have bodies don't even close above the discount. We have one wick that closes above the midpoint and then shoot straight back down. I would just count this. It doesn't really matter because a main close is a 5-minute close, and as you can see, there's no 5-minute close, so we're still on the bearish stance. Now we need to look at our regular trading hours. Where are we in terms of our opening range gap? Right, we have the lower quadrant around here, and just looking at this, Anyway, just looking at this, isn't this the PM low? Yes. I just looking at this, it already looks way too bearish, right? And there is a high chance that we would close the opening range gap, which means we would come to our PM sell side, right? So if I'm looking at that 1 minute, and that's looking at through the whole run, below the liquidity, what can I find is an obvious gap, right? I always want an obvious gap below liquidity, and that right there is below both liquidities and next to our new daily opening gap. So that's what I'd be looking at as target. For now, I don't do anything until 940, but in terms of what we can do, well, we know we went below this, so I would count this one, 934 candle, as our first presented fair value gap. I'd have a limit here, and by 940 if we can get it. Okay, we just melted, right? By 940, there we go. As you can see, we have no interest. Like, if we're just gonna do an easy like dump, it'd be like here, come back there, and then dump again, right? But we're showing no interest. Right, now we're at 940. You might ask, what's this? Well, in London, there was these relative equal highs when I was watching price. And if we were gonna dump in London like then we were gonna hold this exact fair value gap, right? And I would drag that through the whole day because it's gonna use it later on, right? So now we're below it again at 940. The scenarios are still playing. We have taken one sell side liquidity, which is the initial sell side, not really that important, right, in terms of market structure here. But now we are definitely bearish. Okay, so 940, boom, we're creating a fair value gap, right? I would want to see the first reaction inside it, right? And then probably jump into a 15-second. Because when we were here, right? When we were here, it made sense, even still here, to come back to the first presented. But once we go here, then discount is not even like at first presented normal. So now we can be like, okay, we might be that bearish that is one of them scenarios where we're just gonna dump at the start. So this could hold and it could keep pushing price, which means we're in a low resistance liquidity run. And this whole area, even with the first presented, will be counted as a breakaway gap, right? So next minute, I want to see that we go inside, right? First candle. Is the second candle gonna go straight down below? No. Third candle. Alright, cool. I can see that the bodies are below midpoint, right? And the body is actually outside the fair value gap and keep working into it. To me, that's enough to be validating this and also holding this gap as an inverse, right? So I'd be looking to take this on a 15-second really below that, right? Still doing it again. I'll still be waiting. One more there. Right? And if I can get my entry here, then that would be nice, right? Let's just do normal entry. There we go, right? And then I'll go back to the 1 minute for my stop loss, and it'll be right there, right? That's perfect. Then, well, as in TPs, right? Now let's just explain. Like I said, this is my TP with new daily opening gap, so let's just put it right there to be safe. And that would be a trade that I would take if we just normal take, right? but let's see how this works out. Okay, actually dumped straight away after that candle. Yeah. Well, anyway, and now I want to see the reaction at discount. All right, cool. See, we have a fair value gap through discount. That is nice, right? That is nice. See, once it hit midnight right there with the reaction, I would probably taken like half the position off, right? So, okay, about more. See, I'm just too tired right now, bro. Right. Regardless, I would have sold half the position, let's say, right? And the rest I'd leave it for this because I'd be confident that, especially this is what I'm going to be looking at. This fair value gap that goes through discount. That's my main thing that should really hold price to give it that one more push, and then after that is free game, right? Then I would have to reanalyze the whole chart again, right? As you can see, we're wick above it. I would not like that really, but there's nothing really breaking in the structure at all, right? Because we could now come back to discount, but we just started 10. So I'm watching these, but again, at this point, the original position was here, and I'd have that there because price should not go there if it's still bearish. If it's gonna have that one more push, right? Alright, perfect. Cool. Now that this run hasn't gone to discount, now I can rewatch what's gonna happen, right? Like this is me out. Let's say I missed this trade, right? Or whatever. Because there's no re-entry for the trade. That's a proper re-entry. I just need to watch. Are we gonna bother to go all the way to the low, right? Because, well, first of all, we went through discount, right? We really went through discount. So the probabilities of us going lower is higher, right? And I can already see this in the lower time frame starting to look not like your optimal 2022 model, but that's what it looks like, right? It looks like a 2022 model. So I'll just go to the 15-minute to double check. Right, cool. Alright, so let's just get rid of all the extra lines because too much going on. Alright, so that's me. I missed the trade, right? So now from this range, because I would expect price to have a retracement here, right? It's taken all the sell side. It went to that fair value gap I'm talking about. If it's gonna have a retracement to discount, and if we're just gonna play this as a 2022 model, market structure shift, right? Fair value gap in discount, and that would be right there actually, which is perfect. And yeah, I would look to, well, if I miss the show, I'd look to have a long going there. So let's see what would happen if price just, I mean, that I would say that's a good long, right? Me personally, I would say that's a decent long right there because I'm expecting discount, right? So there would be a trade, right? It's not the highest probability trade, but it seems decent enough. Let me just double check with ES. Right, yeah, looks fine, but ES has no SMT, which means this is potentially right. Once we go here, if we're gonna go there, let me see. Yeah, there. I've kind of missed it though, because that exit is also the short, right? Remember, I want to sell here. Um, there, and then because it's a 2022 model, well, and I'm not basing it just fully off the 2022 model, but if we're gonna have this leg, then I'm expecting us, once we go to it typically here, we have one standard D, yeah, it's around the low, so I would take it to the low, right? Let's see, right? Stop loss is a 2022 model. We'd have to actually allow it to, because this fair value gap could push us once more. Um, I'd have it above the breaker, right there. That's that's a conservative stop loss, and then the TP all the way here. And well, because this is a more of a high time frame model, it doesn't really matter what happens in the lower time frame. We could stall. This could push us up again. We could take this high again and then do this. We could SMT the high. Oh, we could just dump. We could do whatever. You can't move the stop loss until we take this low, right? Okay, we do push much lower. Do we have an SMT with ES? No, thank you. I mean YM. No. Wait, YM actually gone all the way back up, which means it's actually likely for us to go higher. Interesting. I mean, I guess another entry, right? I mean, I'll take that. Thank you. Why is it bugging up? It's just bugging up. Anyway, and hello, whatever one. Right, and I'm guessing YM has taken the highs. There we go. That's the SMT that we need. ES doesn't take it. ES actually showing more bearish, and ES hasn't even reached midnight. So I guess that makes sense. Do it. ES goes back technically to his first presented, right? I wouldn't count this as first, but I'd count this as breakaway. I'd count this as first presented here. Technically, it went through it, right? And why was it bugging out? Let's just put the sell at 10 again. I know this is probably one of the worst market recaps you've seen of me because I'm just so tired, bro. I'm so tired right now. Honestly, TP is just hitting the low that it should hit right there. And that's the trade if it plays out. The thing is, stop loss goes mid. I mean, break even once we go to that low. So, no, that doesn't count. There we go. Alright. I mean, that's pushing it, but you know, real stop loss should be here. But hey, the market moves so weirdly these days. Might as well be safe. Anyway, you take a partial at your weekly opening gap. Let's just buy two, I guess. Um, and that's really it. Really, that's it. That's all I would have. I guess you just wait. This is more of a high time frame trade, so yeah, it just takes a while. So I'm guessing you can see this is like lunch and PM that had to do it, rather than this New York one, which taken like this is my typical trades, right? It takes like whatever 10-15 minutes, whatever, you're done, right? And that would be nice. I'll take it a midpoint 100 handles. And if you're gonna take the trade on the day, like in the actual trade, well, that'd be 340 points, right? It's not like I missed it. Well, technically I did miss it. It's just I did not get to trade for today, right? Like I know I'll find something on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That is probably more high probable, right? And if it's not, it's whatever, right? I followed my rules, and that's what you gotta do, right? You just gotta follow your rules. Doesn't mean if you see a Monday that works out, and I wouldn't say this is perfectly working out, but like a Monday that works out, that means, oh, I'm gonna be trading Mondays now. No, it doesn't make any sense. And yeah, well, now I'm gonna have to explain what I think for Tuesday. I'm so tired, man. I'm so tired. Anyway, now that we actually made the low that makes sense for the week, let's get rid of this. And because this is technically to me is a filler day, right? Now that we closed, right, we have created our daily civvy. Let's see what that lines up with and how we would potentially react. Go back to the 1 minute. That daily civvy is right at that high, right? It's creating it. So we haven't we made SMTs with the low with YM. YM might be the one that's thinking, but we haven't made SMTs at the high. So what do I expect? This looks too smooth on, well, not really that smooth. On all indices, basically, that we have buy side that's left. And if buy side that's left on a daily civvy, this is my drawn liquidity for the week, right? This is what I would expect price to go to. And we have NFP, right? So I would not put it past them if we just start dragging this week up this civvy. Maybe have a retracement, maybe have a manipulation down there. And then on an NFP, we just say, you know what? It's time to go back down and just come back down to the lows again, right? Because my thought process is if we go on the weekly, right? This is previous weekly high, right? And if we come down to, I guess, the daily, we're so, what is going on, bro? We're so bearish. Oh my god, bro. We're so bearish that I don't expect this. Who's putting fireworks at this time, bro? It's literally midnight. What is going on? Oh my god. Anyway, if you can hear it, and I hope the mic doesn't pick it up, there's just straight fireworks going on, bro. It sounds like somebody's gunning up the whole place. I don't expect this to go to previous weekly high. So if I don't expect this to go to previous weekly high, that means our range is previous weekly low and going lower. So that means even if we retrace in this week, I still expect this to push lower, which means we could start pushing higher. This could be a bullish week until Friday, which has NFP, and then after NFP, we can push lower again, right? Because I want us to come back to, well, stop the fireworks. I want us to come back to at least the midpoint of this gap, which we clearly haven't gone to, right? And we open this day, and we're probably going to be around the upper quadrant. If the day comes back higher, well, we go to, right, the upper quadrant right here. We might take these relative equal lows. It's the market live right now, right? Come here, and then for Asia, and then start the run up again, running against this, because the 2022 model, once it's taken this low, has been completed. And yeah, I would expect higher prices. I'm gonna turn this off because, bro, these fireworks are too long, and apparently I've been speaking for 30 minutes, and I can't even tell what I've been saying right on that side. But yeah, that's the market recap. Peace out. Hopefully nobody watched this because this would give me brain damage as well.